second episode, and where that Vasco da Gama went from India to this one. Ikkadiki ellina tarvata endaindi manaki 52 64 రెట్లు ఎక్కువ లాభం రావడం అనేది జరుగుతుంది. So in 1502 AD again he returned back to India. So then finally, so he got simply the important things, just he settled here. So then one by one, so they want to start the Portuguese king government start simply about the colonial places in India, the trading centers, the settlements in India. So what about the important settlements, and who given that policy of imperialism, and who started that policy of imperialism in India? And this question is also most important. Almeida is also one of the important bit in your competitive examination. So this is one of the sequence order. And before discussing that settlements and the policies of the Portuguese in India, just you have to remember all these important particulars. And then after reaching of India by the Portuguese, then the 15th, that is almost the starting of the 15th century. But in the 16th century only, the remaining European countries came to India. Dutch came to India in which year? 1602. 1602 they started the Dutch East Indian Company, and finally they reached India in 1605. The arrival of the Dutch came to India in 1605, and the Britishers came to India in 1608. And the arrival and the departure of the European countries in India, that is in one table. The first one is simply Portuguese. What is that? Portuguese. And next one Dutch. Next one English. Next one Danes. Next one French. So before discussing of this important European 5 countries, simply the Dutch, Netherlands people are called Dutch. Netherlands people are called Dutch. And Danes, this is Denmark. Denmark people are called Danes. So you should remember that English were not came to India initially and not went from India finally. So they came to India in the 3rd position, and also just went from India in 3rd position. And what about the arrival dates? And at the same time, this is departure dates. So what about this arrival and departure of these European countries? Portuguese. Yeah, the Portuguese came to India in 1498. That is on May 17th. You must remember this date also. May 17th. So the remaining other countries' dates are not so important, just years only important. But you must remember this May 17th, Vasco da Gama reached to India in Calicut, and where the departure is, what is the departure of the Portuguese? 1961 AD. So then, what about the Dutch? Dutch arrival is? Yes, 1602 AD, and where that simply English arrival is 1608 AD, and next one is Danes is 1620 AD, and next final French came to India 1665 AD, and dates on, don't bother about the dates of the arrival and departure, but you must remember the gap in between the Portuguese and the Dutch is almost 100 years. Almost 100 years. This is in the 15th century, and where the Dutch and other European countries came to India in 16th century. 16th century early, and just simply went out from the Dutch, but the departure is 1759. 59 or 57? 59 AD, not 7. And next one, 1942 AD. And next to, what is that? Danes. 1845 AD. These Danes, Denmark people, Denmark traders, Denmark Danes, East India Company sold out all their settlements in 1845 to the English. And then finally, there is a 1955 French went away from the India. These dates are most important when the 5 European countries came to India in these dates and went from India in these dates. The most important one, frequently asked the question, the last came to India. The last came to India by that European country came to India is only French, that is in 1665 AD. And who came to India first means that is Portuguese country. And next one is, so who went from India initially? Where that? Simply this is Dutch went from India initially. And next one, second position is, this is Danes. And where that simply in the third position, English went from India in the third position, and in the fourth position, French went from India. Almost all in all wars in India in between French and British. So French was almost defeated, even though they went from Indian Union territory simply in 1955 AD. And when that finally, so this Portuguese went from India in 1961 AD, that is from our Goa. So due to that, all the reasons Europeans came to India, those are the main important reasons and why came to India, and arrival dates and the departure dates. So after they came to India by the Portuguese, important traveler, that is Vasco da Gama. Vasco da Gama. So one Vasco da Gama beach is also there in Goa, and this is the Goa was the main capital trade center of the Portuguese in East Indian countries, trading purpose, trading activities. And what about the other important settlements? Settlements of the Portuguese. We'll discuss about that Portuguese colonial places and trade centers. Especially the first one is at Calicut, but this is not the official one. When the second official one, the important official one is Cochin. Cochin. Where is the Cochin? In Kerala. Kerala. So this is the most important bit. Cochin was the first settlement of the Portuguese in India, official settlement, and the difference between the Calicut and the Karaikala, and the Calicut and the Cochin, you must observe that. Next, some more important word, Surat. Surat is also the Portuguese trade center and settlement. And next one, Bombay. What is that? Bombay. So Bombay is also one of the important Portuguese settlement, and the capital of the Portuguese trade in India and the East Asian countries is Goa. So when this Goa captured by the Portuguese is most important, and when the Portuguese government declared Goa as the capital of their trade activities in East India or East Asian countries. And this is also most important. And Mahi and some other, so even Machilipatnam and many more, Kosimbadar and many more are there. Machilipatnam, and many more settlements also, the important settlements belongs to only Portuguese. So in this scenario, first they occupied, important one is in all competitive examination, when Goa was captured or occupied by the British, by the Portuguese. So the year is 1510 AD. 1510 AD. In 1510 AD, Goa was simply captured from the Bijapur Sultan Adil Shah. So he was the contemporary that way that. So simply one is that in 1530 AD, Portuguese was simply announced as the capital of their trade centers in India. So these two dates were most important. And from this Goa captured from which king? Bijapur Sultan Adil Shah. That is also important. And next one, when Portuguese came to India, the contemporary king in India, who's that person? Sri Krishna Devaraya. Sri Krishna Devaraya was the contemporary king in India. So, and the Sikandar Lodi in the North India, overall the India, just we have to say about that Sikandar Lodi, but almost they were only related to North India, but in the southern part of India, completely, that is Sri Krishna Devaraya. Sri Krishna Devaraya belongs to which kingdom? Vijayanagara kingdom. So kingdom is a very large territorial place, and where the province is a small territorial place. Just you should observe in between the kingdom and the province. Okay? And then finally, the important governor generals of the Portuguese is Almeida. Almeida was the very important person. Just he has implemented that policy of imperialism in India by the Almeida. So Almeida were just they defeated almost all important settlements. But in this grace period, when Dutch came to India in 1602, almost this Dutch occupied all the important settlements from Portuguese. So the Dutch were very powerful comparing to Portuguese. Even though they came to India in 100 years before, but Dutch occupied all important settlements from the Portuguese. So even though then they went from India, so they want to settle only Indonesia, Sumatra, Java and some other islands, Malaysia, some other islands. So that's why simply they went from India initially only. So that is due to so many reasons. The wars in between the Dutch and English is also causes to went out from the India by the Dutch. That is also one of the important. And in this one, what about the significance of the Portuguese? Why we are giving so much significance or importance to our Portuguese? Because and they introduced one printing press. And they introduced some more important papaya. Next is some green chilies and many more important activities they done. Our Sri Krishna Devaraya, the king of Vijayanagara Empire kingdom, just imported the very valuable horses from the Portugal. This is also important question. Sri Krishna Devaraya was also taken that engineering technology from the Portugal. So that's why they implemented many irrigation facilities. They developed many irrigation facilities in Vijayanagara Empire. So due to that reason, that Portuguese definitely, in that Portuguese chapter, definitely we may expect 2 or more questions in every competitive examination. This is the part of the Portuguese when came to India through the sea route. This is the first portion. After the Dutch the main important, the first settlement of the Dutch. They came to India in 1602 AD and just they went from India 1759 AD. But similarly, the first settlement of the Dutch. What is the first settlement of the Dutch? Machilipatnam. Dutch Machilipatnam, the first settlement. And the important main settlement of the Dutch is Pulicat. Pulicat was the main important Dutch settlement. So after some more years, even though they started, so before where that English East India Company was established in 1600, before formation of the Dutch East India Company. But they came to India initially, before English. So that's why the difference between these two also very important. So even though the East India Company established in 1599 AD, ending of the 1599, and simply they affiliated by the government of Britain, that means Queen Elizabeth I issued one charter to giving the monopoly trades to East India Company in 1600 AD December 31st. So after that they have to try to came to India, but before only Dutch came to India, they occupied the maximum settlements from the Portuguese, and they went to Sumatra, Java, Indonesia, and Malaysia, and many more important islands also they occupied, and just simply they're doing some trading in different islands. And that is the final one is the war in between, where English came to India. The war in between Dutch and English was day by day increasingly. Finally, Dutch defeated the English army, that means East India Company army or English in Ambaya war, that is in Indonesia. Simply they were killed, Dutch were killed, many soldiers of the English and Japan. So they dominated in that one. Finally they decided we are not having a proper base in India. So we want to move for their well-wisher purpose and their welfare purpose. They have to move from India to Indonesia, Sumatra, Java, and some other places, islands. And those are also very rich natural resources, especially spices. Indonesia is also one of the main center for the spices. So that's why, so they moved from India, so they don't bother about that Indian settlements. And next finally English or British. So English came to India. So in just they were started one East India Company. So Portuguese Estada. So Portuguese East India Company, Estada, and Dutch East India Company. This is also, we may call that a Portugal East India Company, and this is the English East India Company. This is Danes East India Company, and this is French East India Company. And where that English in 1599 AD they were established with 200 members of the England merchants and traders. That is simply named as East India Company. But in 1600 AD December 31st, in 1600 AD December 31st, Queen Elizabeth I issued one important act, chartered act. So that is simply nothing but the monopoly of the trades to given that East India Company. One more important bit is this Elizabeth Queen was also one of the shareholder in East India Company. So she was also one of the shareholder in East India Company. So then finally the East India Company started their journey from 1600 onwards, and simply the important dates how these English came to India. First settlement of India, the south part is in the southern India, the first settlement is where, and in the north part is only Surat. The Portuguese settlement is also Surat. So that is English also came to Surat. But the most important dates for the East India Company or British, that is in 1608. In 1608, the important person, Captain William Hawkins. Captain William Hawkins. William Hawkins. So he came to India. He came to India with the red ship. So that in 1608 AD. So just we want to give one application to start a trade center or settlement in Surat to then King Jahangir. Who was Jahangir? Jahangir was the Mughal king at that time. So that is Jahangir was the son of Akbar. So there are five or six greater Mughals. How many members are there? Babur, Humayun, Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb. So there are six important Mughal rulers or emperors, kings. So then these six members are called Greater Mughals. Greater Mughals. So out of those Greater Mughals, Jahangir. So this Captain William Hawkins just asked the permission to start a settlement in Surat. Initially it was rejected his plea because this Jahangir's court is completely influenced by the Portuguese. And simultaneously the Surat native traders was not interested to coming of that English in Surat because the competition may be arising in between them. That's why the opposition of the Surat native traders and Portuguese. So Jahangir was not given the permission to Captain William Hawkins. That means English. So finally, this Captain William Hawkins fought with the Surat natives and Portuguese, and just simply he won in that battle. So in uncircumstances, Jahangir, the Mughal great king Jahangir, has issued one act, Farmana, and given the permission to start a trade center or settlement in Surat. So that is the story how English started a settlement in India. The first settlement of English in India is at Surat. This is the most frequently asked question in different competitive examination, various competitive examination. Where this is the first year, 1608 AD. So you must remember. And then in 1611 AD, in 1611, so 11 and 12. In some texts we may have that 12. So in 1612, 11, Sir Thomas Roe, approximately one more important person in 1615. In 1615, one more important person came to India from England. This is also very important bit for you. Sir Thomas Roe. Who is that person? Sir Thomas Roe. So he was an ambassador who was sent by the Tutorials one, and just he has to maintain a cordial relations or a trade relations in between India and England. So he visited Jahangir's court in 1615 AD up to 1618 February or March. It was stayed there according to our different resources. We have to study about that. The Sir Thomas Roe and Captain William Hawkins were the very important persons to establish the British settlements, English settlements in India. So later that one. Next, they established some different important settlements in India. That is at Machilipatnam, the second settlement of the English. What is that? Machilipatnam. They started a second settlement or trade center at Machilipatnam. So that is also important. But in the context of the different views, so in the south part is Machilipatnam is the first one. Machilipatnam is the first one. So in that Machilipatnam then called Masulipatnam. In some texts we may have that Masulipatnam. In South India, the first settlement of the English in South India is at Machilipatnam. But overall the India, so the first settlement is at Surat. So the second settlement is at Machilipatnam. Only in the context of the South India, so the first settlement of the English is at Machilipatnam. Just you have to observe the difference between the first and the second and the southern part, first settlement of the English. So this is the important bit. And then finally the Britishers, how to conquer after the establishing of different settlements in the west part and east part. In Calcutta, Kausimbazar, Hooghly and some Balasore and the Kadaluru, Madras, Pulicat, Machilipatnam and many places were there. In Kerala, some important colonial places. So you must remember all important colonial places. So you know very well about that Calcutta, Bombay and Madras, and we know Surat also. And what about that other ports? So in that Dadra Nagar Haveli, simply, so Dayu Daman is one of the colonial place. And next in the western part is Mahe, Goa, next Bombay is also in the west part. And next Karaikal, that means Cochin. Next one is Cochin, Calicut, Mahi, we may call sometimes Mahi. And then Travancore related to again east side. That is in east side. Kadalur, Madras, Pondicherry. Pondicherry is a trade center, colonial place of French, is it not? And some Machilipatnam, Bhimunipatnam, Nagapatnam, and next one is Balasore. Chennapatnam is also nothing but Madras. In what about some important colonial places, trade centers in West Bengal, Chandernagore, Seripuram, Kasim Bazar, and on the bank of Hooghly. Hooghly is also one of the important settlement, and that is also not only one person. They established all the important European countries established their trade centers in, but main centers of different countries having different settlements. They are dominated at that position. They are supremacy in that region at that time. So that's why, and their main settlements we discussed in our history, modern India, and almost all the modern Indian history we will discuss about only the English people, how India was conquered by the English, how they established their empire, dynasty, empire in India, how they governed, how they ruled our India, especially the administration and the governance in India, and then how exploited our rights, human rights in India, and then how exploiting the economy of the India, how they expand their religious aspects in India, how they discriminated the culture of India. Each and every part, every corner will discuss only with the relation of English. So without English, there is no discussion of the modern India. That is the main important one. But that when these two persons came to India in the previous examination question papers also, you have to observe that in 1608 Captain William Hawkins, in 1615 AD, and one ambassador came to India and visited the court of Jahangir, that is Sir Thomas Roe. So this person was sent by the Charles I, the king of the England. That is also most important. And with the Danes. So Danes is the people of Denmark. The people of Denmark is called Danes. So when came to India just 1620 AD, and just simply they went from India in 1845 AD. So due to some reasons, they sold out all their settlements in India to the English. Finally, what about the first settlement in India? So Danes' first settlement in India is Trankumbar. Trankumbar is also nothing but Travancore, that is in Kerala. Where is that Travancore? In Kerala. So that the region of that one, Trankumbar was the main settlement of the Danes. They also established some of the small settlements in various parts of the India, and then finally these French European country came to India in 1664, in some takes 65. They came to India, that means arrival of India, and simply they want to establish some important, especially the political power, the supremacy, and whatever it may be. So the rivalry in between the British and French, English and French, has been completely moves in from the 1665 to the end of the day. So when they moved from India in 1955. So what about the specialties of the French? So initially they don't want to interfere the political aspects, politics of the Indian Union territory. So but the duplex was the most important Governor General in India. The French Governor General, important French Governor General in India is duplex. So duplex created many problems in Indian territories, Indian provinces. That is, especially he was interfere in the internal politics of the Hyderabad, that means Deccan, are also called Golconda, and in the same time he interfered in Carnatic politics also, internal politics also. So this is the causes why English interfere in Indian politics. First initiated by the duplex. Duplex only interfere in the Indian politics. So there are three Carnatic wars were held in between the English and the French. English and French. That is almost due to that first Carnatic war is related to only the rivalry of the English. And with the second one is only due to that effect of the internal politics of the Hyderabad or Deccan or Carnatic politics. And where the third one is completely related to international angle. That is 7-year wars. So in that Austria, due to succession of war in Austria causes to first Carnatic war. And when the second one is internal, that's a war of succession in Hyderabad and Carnatic. And where in the third one is 7-year wars. French were supported to the Americans for their independence movement. So that's why British or English was attacked, simply the rivalry has been increased on that French. the war in between French and the British again in 1756 to 63. Overall, by different wars, different battles in India, English was simply conquest one by one all the territory of our India. First, they started their battles in Bengal and later simply expanded to Carnatic in southern part of India, and simply he has moved from Mysore, Carnatic to Mysore, and later enter into Maratha politics. So these are the scenario, how conquest of the British in India. So that is one of the synopsis. And this in this one, advent of Europeans, just you must observe, especially who prepared for Staff Selection Commission and RRB and some other examination, you must observe that one. First, when came to the India, these Europeans came to India, arrival and departure dates, and their first trade centers. First trade centers are most important, and then finally what they have to introduce in India some important aspects, and the governor generals of the important personalities. So this is Portuguese. Almeida was the first governor general. So this the Almeida introduced that policy of imperialism policy. So that is very important one. So initially they want to start that. Next, one more important Portuguese governor general is Albuquerque. Who's that? Albuquerque. Albuquerque was also very famous personality, and he occupied Goa. He occupied Goa from the Bijapur Sultan. Albuquerque was cordially and having some cordial relationship with Srikshna and some others, even though they conquest important ports on the west part of India. So Albuquerque was very famous after Almeida. Almeida was the first one. Next one is Albuquerque. Albuquerque simply thrown out the policy of the imperialism. So he don't care about that policy of imperialism of the Almeida. So just he's in his own way only Albuquerque want to establish some dynasty or some more settlements in India. So these two persons, and where that Martin Curran and Duplex were the main important governors in French. And French first settlement is also at Surat. So once we have to recap the first settlements of all these 5 countries. Portuguese first official settlement is at Cochin. And next one, Dutch first settlement in India is Machilipatnam. And next English first settlement is at Surat. Danes first settlement is Tranquebar. And next French first settlement is at Surat. So this is the